Hey, what's up, guys? Got another new video here for you. This is Tuned In Sports. I'm Bryson.
Bennett.
And I'm Steve.
And we've got the Week 13 NFL preview coming out here for you. Another exciting week of action-packed football is on its way. No Thursday night game this week. The schedule's all messed around. We got a game on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We got some games. It's just messed up. So I'm guessing it's due to COVID that everything's so different and the Thursday night game's not normal. But it doesn't matter. None of our teams were going to be on it anyway. So it is what it is. Now, Don's not in this video. However, we are still going to be mentioning the Broncos. So we'll go ahead and start there. They've got a game against Kansas City in Kansas City this week. And
I'm
sure he can hardly wait for this one to begin.
Yeah.
He's probably wishing this one gets canceled because of COVID, but for Sunday. But this is gonna be an ugly game, I think. Chiefs, I got probably blowing them out.
The defense for the Broncos has played well pretty much all season. They've been handicapped with
putrid offense.
Offense. Injuries have just bitten the Broncos so bad. I don't think there's been a team that's been more penalized through injuries than they have. They've lost the best players on offense and the best player on their defense due to injury. So, the fact that they're struggling doesn't at all surprise me. So it's, one of those things where, on the face value of it, there's no way in hell they're winning this game. And I don't think if they were at full strength, they're winning this game. Personally, I think the Chiefs are probably going to repeat. I don't see anybody beating the Chiefs if they're healthy, especially if Mahomes is healthy. There's just not an answer for that guy. And then you give him weapons like he has. And then Le'Veon Bell being there now. It's just, what do you do? I don't see anybody beating them. I don't care who they play. But with that being said, I do look for the Broncos to give it a spirited effort. I think the defense will play well again. I just don't see the Broncos being able to score points is the problem. And I don't know what the QB situation looks like. Last week, one pass for 9 yards. The whole game was not quite going to get it done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then a couple completions to the defense as well.
Yeah. It was just not pretty.
Yeah, but, honestly, there's not a whole lot to say with this. Unfortunately, I don't give the Broncos much of a chance. I actually picked them to win last time, and they got absolutely smoked.
So did I.
By the Chiefs. And so even if they were at full strength or whatever, I still wouldn't give them much of a chance, especially in Kansas City. I just really think it's going to be an uphill battle, to say the least. To say the very least, it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm in the same camp of Bennett. I think the defense for the Broncos will play good, but at the end of the day, this game will be a blowout. I don't have any...
And it's not due to the defense, it's due to the offense won't be able to score any points.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the majority of Bronco games.
You got to really question, truthfully, if the Broncos end up losing this game, which inevitably I think they will, you really got to wonder, is it worth winning any other games?
No.
Because, they're in a position to be able to maybe upgrade, and get a decent draft pick. Yeah. Somebody that could actually make a difference on the team. Because they got a lot of pieces in place already if everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
And, I think they're going to be in a position where, I don't know how they feel about Drew Lock as a whole. But they'll be in a position where, there's going to be some nice free agents and stuff like that this offseason that they might be able to get their hands on one of them.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. Unfortunately, I think the Broncos are in a tough spot because if they were trying to get better through the draft. I feel like they've already kind of come close to canning themselves on that one because they've got like 4 wins now. So it's like they're already got a better record than quite a few teams, but then there's no way they're making the playoffs pretty much. So it's like they're kind of screwed both ways.
Well, 4 wins will still keep them in the top 10 picks, though.
Yeah, it'll keep them in the top 10 for sure.
So,
but I'm just saying, I mean, it could have been a lot. With what ended up happening, it could have been a lot better for them. But, they've won some games. And, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, though, too. I mean, at the time they won these games, they were still kind of in the hunt. Now it's just they're kind of getting left behind a little bit due to situations that they can't exactly control. But it is what it is. I guess we'll go ahead and transition into the Eagles since we just finished talking about defense keeps teams in games and offense can't move the ball. The Eagles have a game against Green Bay in Lambeau Field this coming week.
Yeah. Sure. This is going to be a tough one for the Eagles. I look for them to be in the game at least. I mean, I think they, play all right defense, and they're, the offense every once in a while can put up some points. I mean, they put up 30 on the Ravens, and at the time, the Ravens were one of the better defenses before they, got injury struck. But, I think the Eagles could hang with them. Because I don't look at the Packers' defense and think it's all that great either. So, but I got the Packers winning it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I wasn't too pleased with last week's performance against the Seahawks, but I've said in a past video. First of all, when we get upset and frustrated on here, it's because we want to see our teams win. I mean, if you're a sports fan, who doesn't, right? I mean, it's not like we just root for these teams and then live on and just say, whatever. I mean, we genuinely care about seeing our teams do well. And especially being a team that's won a Super Bowl in the last 5 years, I mean, it's just really difficult to watch just how sharp of a turn we've taken the wrong way. I mean, we just won a Super Bowl 3 years ago, and now we're a joke. I mean, so it's really difficult. And the other thing is it's really difficult when we're seeing the same thing every week, and it doesn't seem like there's any changes or improvements being made week to week. It's the same story. I mean, how many times... I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing me say this, but how many times do I have to come on here and say we need to have Wentz get rid of the ball? And where is the play calling? And we can't afford to get down by a bunch of points before we start doing anything on offense. So what's up with the coaching? Why are the game plans not better? Why are we getting down by so much before we even do anything? And that's because... in my opinion, the game planning and the coaching staff is not doing a good job getting the people ready to play. With that being said, I truly believe that is going to be exactly the case again this week. And unfortunately, if that does happen this week, we're against a team that could very easily not let up. And we could end up getting absolutely stomped this week. If we get off to a slow start, we could easily lose this game by 20 points or more.
Yeah.
And it could get out of hand very, very quickly. And, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the case. I'm in the same camp as Bennett in saying that I haven't been overly impressed by the Packers, specifically on defense this year. But with that being said, I mean, I've seen this show before. The Seahawks defense was supposed to be one that was struggling and not very good compared to past years. We struggled against them, We had negative 4 yards in the first quarter. We couldn't move the ball. So the quality of the defense doesn't seem to matter. And I think a lot of that has to do with, I don't think that Peterson is the right person to be calling plays and stuff on this offense. I think we have a lot of pieces, and I don't think he knows how to incorporate them. Speaking of which, Jalen Hurts, he saw 2 plays last week. And it just, it's frustrating when you think we drafted this guy in the second round to come in. And I think that was a waste of a pick because we need more help than another backup quarterback. Just imagine if that was a lineman we had drafted. That would have been great. But instead we got this guy, and they're not even really using him. And when they do use him, one of the plays that he was in the Seahawks game for, he went in there and threw a pass. He didn't even run or use his legs or anything. He just lined up in the shotgun and then threw it. And I was like, well, I don't know. I guess it's good that they're trying to, show you that just because he's in the game doesn't mean it's an automatic run. I guess that's good. But I'm just saying what we brought him in there for was because of his athleticism, not necessarily because we want him to gun it around. So it's difficult. With that being said, I definitely think Packers are winning this week. In terms of the score, I think it could be another game where we are within shouting distance and stay in the game but end up losing, or completely the opposite and we get absolutely toasted. I think it could really go either way. But the only way I don't see it going is us walking out of Lambeau with a W. And that's the way I want to see it go, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't see them beating Green Bay right now. Green Bay's kind of playing well, and Aaron Rodgers looks like MVP Aaron Rodgers. When he's hot, there's not a whole lot anybody's going to do against him. He's just got touched for days, and he always makes the right throws. And when they give him time, he's as good as it gets. Mm-hmm. Well, that being said, I do think there's a reason in that. Obviously the Eagles haven't played Jalen Hurts enough to really know what they have, and I really believe that this game here is an audition for Wentz to keep his job. If he plays bad this week, don't be surprised if he's done being the starter starting next week. And I think you're going to see Jalen Hurts in the game a little bit this week, and not just to run the ball, because they need to know whether or not he can play quarterback. It's not about whether or not he can run the ball and be some type of a weapon, because they already know that. What they need to find out is, if I put the ball in your hands, can you complete passes and make good decisions? And I ultimately think that, and I'm not suggesting that he's the answer there or whatever, and I'm not suggesting at all that Wentz isn't capable of leading this team. Wentz, Bryson's has said it many a time, that he's got all kinds of ability. There's a reason he was taken where he was taken. And, and he can throw the ball, and he is athletic, and he can do things, when he's right. But at this point, I fear that, the injury bug has been the issue, and then I think there's also some confidence issues at this point, where I think he's just thrown so many picks and taken so many sacks that he doesn't have the confidence level that he needs to be effective. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean that if he went to a team like Pittsburgh and went there, you think he could be effective? I guarantee you he could be effective. Any team that has a running game and, decent weapons, he can play. Unfortunately, the Eagles have been hit as hard as anybody has outside of Denver, I think, this year, with the injuries. And it's been very difficult for them as a whole. And I think, I've said this before, I think Peterson, it might just be time for a change. I think that, whether it's too much pressure on him to try to call plays and then also coach, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like Bryson always talks about the changes. Where's the adjustments being made? I just don't ever see it happening. And evidence supports it with the record that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I mean, you cannot diminish the amount of the importance of how many injuries they've had. I mean, they've got like 10 different starting lineups on the offensive line. I mean, just crazy amount. You got people playing all over the place that don't always play there. Like, you got a guy starting at left tackle that was playing right guard. You got, stuff like that going on. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, now some of these guys are seasoned veterans and can make the adjustments quicker than some of these younger guys might. But it's still an adjustment nonetheless. And then understanding where they need to go for blocking and this and that. I mean, it's not an easy thing for those guys to make those type of adjustments.
Yeah.
And then when you got, Carson Wentz has a tendency to want to hang on to the ball, to maybe no fault of his own, where he's trying to make plays because he knows he needs to. And so he probably gets in a situation where he's like, well, I'll just hang on to this for a minute and this guy's going to get open. But unfortunately, a minute's, about, 58 seconds too long.
Yeah, exactly.
So for how much time he actually has to get the ball out of his hands. So
yeah, exactly.
So it's just a myriad of different problems there that have taken place that I really feel like have been the demise. And I mean, and I would be the first one to sit here and tell you that if the Eagles are healthy, they've got plenty of talent to be able to play at an effective level. And they can be probably one of the better teams in this league, just based upon that. The ownership does a very good job of seeking out free agent talent, trading for people, whatever they feel as though it's going to help that team, that ownership does it. So it's not a question of talent. It's more to do with injury problems and then, in my opinion, coaching.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I mean, and then a mixture of that with poor quarterback play. But I think some of that, like he said, also has to do with offensive schemes. I think many times in the Seahawks game, their offense was extremely predictable on what they were doing. And whenever us people on the couch can tell you what's about to happen, that's generally not a good sign. Because we're not studying tape like the other football teams are. Or supposed to be doing. I mean, I don't know how much tape the Eagles are watching, because if they were watching tape, I feel like some of these issues could be fixed. So I don't know, but whatever, we got plenty of other times where we can get into the issues with the Eagles. But at the end of the day, I just think the issues that we're having, whatever the reason are too much to be able to take down Green Bay on the road. Yeah. And I think that's the consensus here, is that whatever the reason for the problems, they're not going to fix themselves against Green Bay. And I knew that coming in, which is part of the reason why I was so upset when we lost to the Giants. Because I knew when we played the Browns, when we played the Seahawks, when we play the Packers, when we play the Saints, when we play the Cardinals next week, these are all really good teams that we can't afford to lose, or that we can't afford to, have it come down to those games in order to right the ship. Because those teams are too good, right, for us to fix things against them. You know what I mean? These are all division-leading teams. Yeah. So for us to lose a game to the Giants is like, you can't lose that one. So, whatever. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. Let's go ahead and get into the Bengals game next. They've got a game on the road at Miami. Still no Burrow. So I believe it's going to be
Brandon Allen again. Yeah. Oh, well, first thing, some good news is, Burrow ended up having a successful surgery, and they're making it sound like he'll fully recover. So, cheers to that. So hopefully he'll be back early next season. We'll see, but, that's pretty good news. But to get into this flipping Dolphins game, I was actually really looking forward to a Burrow versus Tua matchup, but unfortunately that's not going to be what's going to happen.
Yeah, both of them are out.
Yeah,
injuries.
So, it's going to be tough, but I think we'll do what we always do. We'll play good enough to be in the game, but won't pull it out. I mean, I think last week against the Giants, I feel like we played good enough to win that game, honestly. And I think we arguably should have won it, but I think this Dolphins game, it's gonna be how good Brandon Allen plays, I guess. I mean, that's really going to be the determining factor because Dolphins' defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're both probably playing with backup QBs. Granted, I would rather have Ryan Fitzpatrick than Brandon Allen, but, it's going to be tough. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to lose. But I think we'll be in the game.
I'd say that's a pretty accurate assessment of it. And truthfully, I don't know that you want to win it. I think, truthfully, you want to lose. Mm-hmm. You want to be in that top 10 picks. Because ultimately, what you need to do is find a way to get more help for Burrow. Whether it be offensive line or you get him a defense, so where he doesn't have to score 35 points to win a game.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I mean, the goal at this point isn't really about how many more wins can we get. It's about positioning yourself for the draft, for the best draft pick you can get. You got to tank without tanking, really, is what it amounts to. And, I mean, in my opinion, if all is okay with Burrow, which I pray that it is, because I really like the kid, and I think he's an exceptional talent, and I really see a bright future for the Bengals if he is indeed healthy. So, I mean, I just feel like you got to do everything you can to strengthen everything around him, both offensively and defensively. I don't think you're far away offensively. I think you have plenty of pieces there to be able to, and he's already proven that because they've already been scoring points.
Yeah.
When he was in the games. I mean, he was putting points on the board, making drives when it counted. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, finding ways to win is not easy to do in this league. I mean, you gotta learn how to win. So, I mean, he'll get there. But this week I would see, because I mean, Miami's kind of trying to make a playoff run, and they're trying to get themselves into a playoff position. And truthfully, I mean, they've been playing some good ball, and I think that'll continue. I think the Bengals, like you say, will be in the game. Probably just come up a little bit short, but it's going to be a win for the Bengals at the same time because, hey, guess what? We're getting closer to having another good draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think, honestly, I think last week they played against the Giants, and like Bennett said, I mean, they didn't play great, but they did probably do enough to at least stay in the game, which is good for them. The unfortunate part about it is that I don't think that that's going to be the case this week. I think that the Dolphins' defense is a huge step above the Giants, and I would not be surprised with Brandon Allen in there if there is a myriad of turnovers this week. I would say at least probably 2, if not 3 or more. I hope that's not the case. I mean, I'm not rooting for them to just have a frickin' turnover fest, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me. And I think the Dolphins are a much better caliber team than the Giants are, and so I think it's going to be a rough week for the Bengals. But like Dad alluded to, and I completely agree with, is first of all, it doesn't do them any good to win right now. Second of all, they have a built-in excuse. We lost our franchise quarterback. So like Don has said in the past and like Dad said, you can tank without making it look like you're tanking. I mean, because you can say, oh, shoot, man, look at all the injuries and the things that we're having to deal with. Come back next season with a healthy Mixon, healthy Burrow, hopefully, a few new additions on the line or the defense, or hopefully both. And then see what you can do there. I think really what you need to do with the rest of this season is assess talent. Figure out who needs to go, who needs to stay, who needs to be re-signed, who you could probably part ways with without it really bothering you too much. And I think there's a host of candidates on both sides of the ball for both of those. I think there's definitely some people that, are worth re-signing. But I also think there's a host of people that you wouldn't lose too much by letting go of them. And in some respects, it might help the team to just say, you know what?
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really hoping that we'll re-sign William Jackson. He's probably our best corner on the team, and he's definitely a beast. When he's actually out there playing, because he's had some injuries this season. But, also Jesse Bates, he's a beast. I'm hoping that we'll be able to re-sign him. I don't know when he's a free agent, but I'm pretty sure it's not too far off from now. So, we got to make sure and get him back in there as well on the defensive side. But I'm also hearing that, we might be looking at one of the Rams tight ends this coming off season.
Yeah,
which
but
I wouldn't be too mad about.
I don't know. See, that Sample guy to me has looked pretty good, and I think that he could be a solid tight end for you. So, as far as I'm concerned, looking at some tight end from the Rams, that's fine, but I feel like that effort could be put into another lineman, and that's going to be a much bigger impact than getting another weapon, because you don't have a lack of weapons on the team.
Yeah.
You just have a lack of protection and a lack of being able to keep somebody behind center that can not have to worry about getting sacked before he even receives the ball.
Yeah,
So I feel like going after a tight end from the Rams would be a sideways move.
Yeah,
for as good as it might do, you could have done even more by going after a position of need.
Yeah,
and tight end is not a position of need.
It's just been, this year has just been one of those situations. I'm pretty sure the last, 2 or 3 weeks we've been playing with almost all backup offensive linemen. And having guys moved around as well. It's just been, everybody that we did pick up this offseason either has been injured or has been injured pretty much. I don't think one of the people that we brought in this offseason hasn't missed a game besides maybe Von Bell. So, and Von Bell's really playing well. I'm really a big fan of his. Pretty sure he had, I remember watching him get a not strip sack, but, guy caught the ball and then he,
forced a
fumble. And, that just, to be honest, I don't think either side of the ball were all that far from being good on. I think, the defensive line needs some work, definitely, but, we got young linebackers. We got some pretty solid corners. Mackenzie Alexander, we brought him in. Trey Waynes hasn't even played a game yet, so I don't think he's played a game yet. But, he's actually a pretty solid corner in his own right. So, I don't think we're lacking all that much. We just need a pass rush.
Yeah.
And we don't have that currently.
Yeah. Well, one way or another, again, one way or another, I don't think it does them any good to really win this game. So, make it close but lose. So,
Yeah.
Speaking of teams that should probably be looking into doing that, let's move into the Lions game. The Lions got a game on the road at the Chicago Bears. And again, like I said, I know division rival, it never feels good to lose to a team within your division, and it sucks, and it's a painful experience. But at the end of the day, a win doesn't really do the Lions that much good, even though I think they are still in the playoff race as it sits. But, I don't think that they're going to end up making it. And honestly, I don't know if the ownership really wants them to make a playoff push. I think the sooner they can get into being in the off season and start looking start hiring in terms of GM and the other stuff, because I'm pretty sure you can't sign anybody to those positions until your season's over, right?
I don't know exactly what the rules are.
Well, I think it seems like that's the case, because otherwise, I never
if you fire
hear
somebody. You can hire.
Well, yeah, but I never hear anybody hire somebody before a season's over. They only ever move people up. So I don't know if you can sign before the season's over, especially if that person is still
being employed by another team or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, of course, but
yeah, well, and that's generally what they do.
If they decided they wanted to hire Jim Caldwell right now, there's not going to be anybody telling them they can't.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to. But I'm just saying, if you got a person on another team or whatever the case may be, which most of their candidates are people on other teams, I think, the sooner that they can get to the off season and start really hammering in some details and figure out their new direction, the better. So it doesn't do them any good to win any more games. And I think that they should try to lose this game. I don't know if they're going to, because the Bears have been struggling and their quarterback situation is a mess. I actually am going to pick the Lions to win this game, because I think they will win this game. But I don't know if that's what's in their best interest moving forward.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree. The Bears' offense is just a train wreck. Why even bother going out there on the field? I don't believe that they're averaging more than 17 points a game right now. So they're one of the worst offenses in the league. The Lions' defense is pretty adequate, but they have a lot better offense than we do. Than the Bears do. So I just look for the Lions to score more points. I don't know if it's going to be because the Lions' defense is... I don't feel like they really got to play all that great to beat the Bears' offense or, stop them, because they don't generally move the ball anywhere anyways. So, I think ultimately it's just going to come down to how many points the Lions can put up.
Yep.
No, but that was the scenario in the first game of the week, or the year. They went out, Lions got up on top of them, and then the Lions defense just crumbled and allowed them to come back and win the game.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it's not exactly, the Lions defense is far from the steel curtain, let's put it that way.
Well, I trust...
They're not good.
I trust their defense more than I do the Bears' offense. That's all I'm going to say.
No, and there's definitely cause for concern there. For a Bears fan. My own opinion on the Lions, though, I'm not sure who's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a coin flip. I think it could go either way. Yeah. Sometimes when coaches are fired, the team steps up and plays.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I want to see him win. I want to see him win games. This team needs to win games because what it's going to do is breed confidence. We need confidence. We need to start playing football. And if they win a lot of games down the stretch where they put themselves in a position to be in a wild card position, I would love it. And then, if Bevel proves me wrong and he's the right guy, then keep him on. Fine with me. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Because, to me, it's about winning games. The fans want something to cheer for.
Yeah.
I do understand what he says, if we're going to be making changes, why not get better draft picks and see what we can do. The future is uncertain there. There's so many uncertainties about every position on that field that really nobody knows anything. Who knows if Matt Stafford's going to be there? All signs are pointing that they're going to let him go probably. Who knows?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I want to see him win the game. I want to see him win the rest of the games. I could really care less because I want to see victories. I want to see this team moving forward and playing like they're capable of. I really think it was the coaching that was holding it back. I think we have talent. Why not showcase it?
Yeah.
Let's get these offensive weapons moving. Let's change this up. Let's change the way we're doing things. Let's let these defensive guys play football. And then, when we see something going right, well, let's capitalize on that. Let's not go away from it. That's what we do all the time. And that's where I think this team has always made the mistakes. They're running the ball like crazy, and then they go away from it. Why? If you can't stop it, then I'm going to run it down your throat. That's the way I feel about it. Instead, what do? Well, we'll run it effectively in the first quarter, and then we'll not run the ball for the next 3. We'll catch them off guard by passing it. Bullshit. Do what you know you can do well. I'm not suggesting that, we're on the same level as the Chiefs or something like that talent-wise. I'm not foolish enough to think that, but I think we have enough talent to play pretty competitive football. And, whatever the case is, I want to see it happen. Whatever. Sometimes this coaching change stuff sometimes ignites a flame under these guys. Because a lot of times, now you got guys on contract years or whatever, and they don't know where they're going to be. So now they're playing for their jobs. And trying to play for the next contract. Or maybe they're trying to play their way out of Detroit. Which is usually the case. But, I just kind of feel like, amidst all the turmoil and stuff, I look at what happened in Atlanta. Atlanta fires the coach. What has happened? I don't think they've lost a game since. Or maybe they lost one and won all the rest. But my point is that team's inspired and they're playing inspired football. And I'll guarantee you, coming down the stretch, nobody wants to play them. Because they're liable to knock anybody off. They got a lot of weapons, a lot of talent. And you get the right mindset on a team like that, and they're going to be hell to play against. And I think that's the kind of stuff that Detroit could be. I think Detroit could easily be one of those teams that you don't want to see them. Now, is it going to happen that way? Probably not. I'll be here talking to you in 3 weeks going, man, we still have not won another game. Let's just, cash in the chips. But, as a Lions fan, I want to see some victories. I don't want to see another 4-win season. I want to see a 9-win season. Or a 500 season. I want something that's positive to move forward with, not a bunch of bullshit. And here we go again, let's wait for another draft pick. Because it amounts to the draft picks don't mean anything. Because they never turn out to be very good. Every year we have a low draft pick, but we never get any better.
Yeah.
So, I'm tired of building through the draft. Because we're building through the draft, but we ain't building nothing. Except more losses. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And, I've been a big-time supporter of Matt Stafford since he's been there. I still think he's the best quarterback that Detroit's ever had there. I mean, I may get some pushback from some guys that watched Bobby Lane back in the day or whatever, but for my money, he was as good as there's ever been there. Which, there's not a whole lot of great things to be said about that because Detroit hasn't had much success in that area. All you got to do is look at the records, and that will tell you enough. But, I mean, Stafford has definitely, been above and beyond as good as anybody that they've ever had. And maybe it's partially because he's been given the opportunity to play there that long, where others have not. But, I just think, he's definitely not been the problem. And, I mean, it's just a shame that they haven't been able to capitalize on how good of a quarterback he potentially is. And so, with that being said, I do look for a spirited game from Detroit. It is in Chicago, however, and who knows what the weather's going to be like. So, it could be a mess. And if it is one of those games where it's 20 degrees outside, everybody's, wearing, parkas when they're not on the field, Detroit could be in trouble. I mean, they're not practicing in that type of weather. They're not playing in it. They're playing indoors in a nice,
Yeah,
heated stadium and this and that. So, as far as I'm concerned, if they have to go out in Chicago weather and if it's at all questionable, it could be a long day.
Yeah. I completely agree. We'll see what ends up happening, though. I mean, as far as teams playing against other teams, I think Detroit has the best chance to win their game among everyone here, as well as the Broncos. I think Detroit by far has the most winnable game.
Yeah.
I did pick them, as a matter of fact, but I would pick them by a long shot over any of the other teams winning their games. I don't really give any of the other teams much of a chance, but I would not be surprised at all if Detroit won. So we'll see what ends up happening. We go on here and talk about who we think's going to win, and we end up getting it not even close to right many times. And so, sure it'll be another instance of that where, one of the teams that I thought had no chance will end up winning, and then the Lions, who I thought had the best chance, will get blown out or something. I mean, that's just football. So we'll see what happens.
And especially with
COVID and
with all the
everything.
Changes and stuff going on within Detroit's organization, you don't know how the team's going to react.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody could just say fuck it and cash it in and say we're done playing for the year.
Yeah.
I mean, it very well could easily be that.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case, but if that is the case, then I can assure you Bevel won't be there.
Yeah. Yeah, they could take the mindset of, why am I going to get myself hurt for a team with no direction right now?
Right.
Doesn't know where they're going in the next years.
Right.
Because,
and based upon their history, do you really have faith that they're going to make the right decision?
Yeah, there's that too.
I mean, as much as I'd like to sit here and say, oh, yeah,
we're turning over a new leaf.
We're bringing in the right people this time. Nothing. There's no reason to be optimistic about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, truthfully, there is none. There is no reason that you should be optimistic as a Lions fan that this organization is going to make the right decisions.
Yeah, you've had 50, however many years of
50
plus years to turn over the new leaf and start over and get it right,
Yep.
and they haven't even really came close. So.
And the only guy that did turn it around, they fired.
Yeah.
For what reason? Oh, he was winning too many games.
Yeah.
But,
But anyway, I mean, that we'll have a video either previous to this or after this talking about the Lions and the Eagles specifically and some of the things that we want to see with those organizations. So we'll make sure you check out that video. But for this video, we're going to go ahead and put a wrap on it. We hope you guys enjoyed watching, and make sure you leave in the comments if you're a fan of either Denver or Detroit or Philly or Cincinnati What do you guys think about the upcoming week's games? Does anybody have a chance? Are we all going to sit here pissed off come Sunday? We'll see.
Yeah,
It is what it is, but let us know, and let us know your thoughts on it. So, like I said, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, all that fun stuff. And with that being said, I'm Bryson.
I'm injured.
I'm Steve.
We'll see you guys in the next video.